Hello there, everyone, and a very happy Friday to you today. This is Sarah coming to you from the Arden Creative Studio. It's wonderful to be here with you today, and great to be playing with some of Arden's amazing vintage Christmas papers and supplies. And we're going to be doing a little bit of Christmas paper crafting today for today's live. So, welcome everyone, and please do feel free to jump into the comments and say hello, give us a wave, and let Fiona and myself know that we're not just here Christmas crafting together, although that would be very fun. So, it is wonderful to be here, and I'm excited to share with you some a card making project plus some very practical little gift card holders. Hello, Avril. Nice to see you. Thanks for jumping in. Welcome to our crafting time together. And it is frosty and cold here in northern Germany. So it's just a perfect time, I think, looking ahead to the weekend for a little bit of holiday and winter themed card making. So, hi, very nice to see you. This is the project that we're going to be working on today. So, I'm going to be taking our 12 by 12 scrapbooking papers, or what we often think of as being scrapbooking papers, and putting them to use for a handmade card. And for this card project, what I want to point out, I think, to you especially is, first of all, it's a very simple, quick, and easy card project to do. The layout's really adaptable, in part because we're going to be making this pattern paper do the work for us. And this is great when you have an all over large pattern design like this, very striking poinsettia design. Let this as the background do the work for you. And all you need to do is add a few embellishments on top of it and maybe some additional cardstock or pattern paper, and you're good to go. So this is going to be one of our projects for today. But then also, we're also going to be making little gift card holders. And these are super simple to put together, great for the Christmas holidays, winter holidays, but also, of course, great for any time of year. Hi, Marianne. Nice to see you. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this little folded envelope. And I also want to show you a couple of varieties that you can do with your other patterned papers and embellishments. So we'll talk about folding this up and creating this format, and then also you'll again see another little look at how to put this together and use it for some different pattern papers. Now, I would also add, you'll notice that everything is coordinated. You could simply place this inside your card as well. So you can do a bit of a combination in there if you wanted to. So, hi, Kimberly. Very nice to see folks jumping in. Thank you so much for joining us today and taking the time out of your Friday. I hope your Friday is going well, and I hope you have some fun plans for the weekend, maybe some crafting plans. All right, I'm going to move aside a couple of things here on my work surface, and then I'm just going to switch down the camera, and we can get into our demo. So let's see here. I think you can all see this pretty well. So again, here is my card. I've got my beautiful pattern paper. I've got some other pattern paper here in the background, a little bit of cardstock, and then my two embellishments popped up with some foam tape. And again, quick and easy to do. I'm using the pattern papers from the Vintage Christmas Paper Pack from Arden. I love this. I think these are absolutely beautiful. And you can see the color palette here on the front cover. So immediately you can see the designs that are included in here. And I really like that we've got some nice traditional reds and greens. We've also got some nice sepia colors in here, some of my favorites with a vintage theme. I have to say this pattern design is one of my all-time favorites. But I also love here how we're getting into this almost like a Northern Lights color combination, and then of course our beautiful blues for the winter. And inside here with the 12 by 12s, you've got two sheets each, and you can see that they're double-sided, so things are coordinating for you, which makes it really nice. This is another really pretty one too. But just have a look at this beautiful swirl. So everything's got a gorgeous vintage effect. with the old-fashioned cars and of course like this snow-covered trees and the lanterns, just beautiful. So this is what I'm going to be using for my background. Oh, I should also point out, you also have a collection that is the same pattern designs, but they're scaled down for 8 by 8. And this is really going to come in handy. I'll share a little bit more when we get into our gift card holders. So let's start out first of all with my patterned paper. Now, when I first saw this design, I really love this illustration style. I think this is just beautiful. It's got this kind of watercolor effect between the green and the purple, but the design and the illustration is just beautiful on here. So as a 12 by 12 sheet, you can, of course, simply place your photo right on here. You could do a lot of photos up here at the top or some journaling. I really love this illustrated style down here, especially for a scrapbook page. You could take a craft knife or an X-Acto knife and trim around some of these fine tips on the leaves and then tuck a photo underneath. So there's a lot that you can do with this. But for card makers, you know that you can use this area here also for the front of your card. And this is the portion that I've used for my card front. So this is the area that I'm going to take advantage of, making that pattern paper do the work for me. But the first thing I want to do is start out with my blank card here. So I like working with a blank white pre-scored folded card. My card is measuring 5 by 6.5 inches. So if you have the same card format, then this will be exactly the same, but you can also scale up the size or scale it down if you want to. Before I add my beautiful pattern paper on here, I want to add another kind of more subtle pattern design. And so what I've done is, let me bring this back in. I've covered the front of my card with pattern paper, and then I've trimmed down this portion slightly smaller than the card front. So I'm mixing and matching my pattern papers. And this is the design that I want to use. I'll have to show you the other side too, because it's really hard to decide which of the sides I want to use. So it's a good thing you have 2 each of those papers in the collection. Makes it a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do is cover the front of my card with this patterned paper first. And to do this, I'm going to grab my glue stick. Now, usually I'll use a double-sided tape, but for the interest of keeping things relatively time efficient for our demo, I'm going to just grab my glue stick for this. So I've put the glue all over the front of my card, especially at the corners because those tend to get handled the most. And then I'm going to take my piece of pattern paper and I'm going to line up this edge with the fold of my card. And the reason I'm doing that is so that it will make it easier for me to trim around the outside edge. So I'm just going to flip this over, make sure that this is lined up, and smooth this down. And then grab my scissors and I'm just going to trim around the outside edge. I find this easier than cutting a piece of paper to exactly the size of my card front and then trying to position it perfectly on my card front. Sometimes my aim's not that good. So this is my little trick for getting a pattern paper or cardstock covering the front of my card quickly and easily. Okay. Move these scraps aside. And so then there we go. I've got my color on here and it looks just beautiful. So now what I'm going to do is add the coordinating pattern paper right on top. So I need to trim this down slightly smaller than the front of my card. And I'm just going to grab my paper trimmer for this and get this out of the way. My trusty paper trimmer. How many years have you had your paper trimmer? If you use one like I do, I have to say this is, I think I've had this paper trimmer like more than 10 years. Okay, I'm just going to make sure this is a little bit smaller than the front of my card. And let's go to the other side here. And also check that. I think we're good. Okay, and now I've got my main focal image on here. And so from here, I can simply place this right on top. But another thing I like to do is add in a little bit of contrast between those two pattern papers. And for this, I'm going to use some green cardstock. So let me show you the pack that I'm working with is the premium cardstock in the greens. So here you've got four shades. You have the jade, you have, let's see, I'm reading it upside down. You've got Kelly green, you've got Hunter's green, and you've got moss. And moss is the color that I'm using. I think I've talked before about my love for really good cardstock, and this is definitely one of those indulgences that I, as a paper crafter, I just really, really love good cardstock. Quality cardstock makes me happy. So I've got a piece of that moss that I've cut down a little bit bigger than my poinsettia paper. And again, I'll just glue these two together, and then I will have the front of my card covered. And the reason I'm doing the two pattern papers with a cardstock in between is because I really like to have that solid edge just separating between those two pattern papers. It does provide a little bit of a frame around the outside. Let me see if I can get this a little bit more easily positioned here. There we go. And it doesn't have to be a really thick border around the outside edge. You can keep things fairly narrow if you want. Okay, and then position this right on the front. You could also ink the edges if you wanted to. That would also provide a really pretty effect. Okay, and then there we go. So you can see I'm really letting that pattern paper work for me. This design is beautiful. The colors are gorgeous. And it's a nice size for really filling this entire area. I don't have to do a whole lot more to add in any additional embellishments. But I am going to use some ephemera. I've got two ephemera pieces here, and you can see that they just work beautifully together. Of course, they're designed to coordinate. There's another one that also can work too, that's in that same color scheme with a Happy Christmas. And this, I think, just could be just as beautiful as the Joy to the World. So you can see that could just pop right in there too. And these are all from the Vintage Christmas Ephemera Pack. This is absolutely loaded. So there's a lot in here. There's 64 die cut images in a variety of styles and sizes. And I did another video with this collection for a retailer. And so I've got a board that's got all of them on here. So I just wanted you to be able to see the variety of sizes, the different illustration colors, but of course how everything is coordinating. So this is the element we're using here. And then there are more, again, going into the reds, more of those beautiful poinsettias. Here's a small Joy to the World. And here's that Happy Christmas, another Christmas that could also work beautifully on with this color combination. But you've got like small elements that work nicely as accents, and you've got some larger pieces there too that can go on the front of your card or on your envelope or on your little mini envelopes too. So these two are the pieces that I narrowed it down to. And on my original card, I have them popped up with foam tape. So this is on foam tape, and then this is also on foam tape. So what I'm going to do is foam tape the two of them together and then foam tape them as one unit on the front of my card. So I've got the holly going across like so. And so then let's see, I'm just going to grab some of my foam tape pieces here and put the two of these together. Let's see, I think I had it a bit like this. So I've got these two elements together, and I don't want them to kind of get crushed or dented. So I'm just going to flip this over and then add some more of my foam tape to the other areas. There we go. Foam tape is one of my secrets for when I'm working with kind of quick and easy card designs, especially when you're letting that pattern paper do all the work for you. To add in a little bit of depth and dimension with the foam tape does make it make those elements stand out. Okay. Then I can also figure out where I want this to go. You could have it up at the top, you could have it down at the bottom, you can have it off to one side, you can have it overlapping, you can have it going a lot of different directions. I've got mine sort of down toward the bottom here. And there we go. Super quick and easy to do. Hi, Michelle, nice to see you. So I've got all of my elements put together on the card front, quick and easy. Now for the inside of the card, I don't know if any of you tend to get like a writer's block. My mom is a card maker and she would always she makes the cards, but then she would make my dad write the message on the inside. So they were kind of tag teaming birthday cards and things like that. But I know a lot of us, you look at the inside of the card and it's like, oh gosh, I have to think of something heartfelt and amazing. So this is where some things like a little touch of a rub on can sort of make it a little bit easier to face the blank page in there. So I'm using some rub-ons from the transfer set. And these are, of course, coordinating. You can see the two designs here. You get 2 sheets each of the 2 designs. I'm a real rub-on fanatic. I love these. I think they just look beautiful. The designs are gorgeous. And they just add so much to your project. So just have a look. You've got some beautiful background images here. Also some more of those coordinating floral pieces. And you also get included what I call a popsicle stick. As an American, we call them popsicle sticks. I think in the UK, you call it something else, or craft stick could be. But this is what you can use to burnish on your rub-on. And this is included in the pack. So all you need to do is just trim out your design. Keep the liner piece onto the rub-on piece. Keep the 2 of them together until you know where you want to position this. I'm going to pop mine down here at the bottom and smooth that down. There's a bit of stick to the rub-on, so it's not going to go sliding around. So you can use your craft stick, popsicle stick, to burnish this on. If you have a bone folder, I've got a very, very old bone folder, but this will also do the trick here too. So all you need to do is just burnish this in place. And again, that little bit of stick on the back of the rub-on means it's not going to be sliding all over the place. And you don't need to put a lot of muscle into it. Just a nice, firm, even burnishing. The quality of these is really good, which I love. And then what you can do is sort of lift up gently along one end and slowly walk this along. And then I start on the other side too. Just make sure that everything has transferred. If you pull this back and you go, uh-oh, some of it hasn't transferred, I've not done it, then you can place it back, go back and burnish it again, and it will transfer. So these are really easy to do, a lot easier than the Hello Kitty rub-ons I had as a child that didn't always transfer that well. So there I've got the inside of my card decorated too. And I'm ready to go. Hi, Susan from Wisconsin. Hi, Michaela. Nice to see you guys both joining us. Thanks for popping in. So we've just finished our first card using pattern papers, letting the pattern papers do the work for us and letting those embellishments really shine on here too. Now I have to say, from here, what you can also do is add more if you want to. So it's nice to have the option of being able to do something quickly and easily, but also, if you wanted to add in maybe some of the enamel dots or any other embellishments, maybe you have some ribbon that you'd like to add in there, that can also go too. But if you need something quick and easy, there you go. So the other thing that we're going to be looking at today is our little gift card holders. Now, while I have the two of these together, I'm just going to point out again, if you have the two that are coordinating, as we do with our little Joy to the World ephemera pieces, you could simply pop this on the inside, and then you've got your card and your gift together. But these little guys work beautifully on their own too. And so I'll show you how to put one of these together. Super simple to do. And then you can use whatever pattern papers you have on hand to create and decorate these little gift card holders. So if you are like me and you live with a teenager who definitely doesn't want you picking out, for example, any clothing, a gift card is probably one of your go-tos for the holidays. So these really come in handy, not only for Christmas though, but also birthdays, weddings, anniversaries throughout the year. This is going to be a good little folded piece to have on hand. So what I'm going to do is start with some pattern papers. And what you'll need to do is begin with a rectangle that's cut 5.5 inches the long way by 4 inches the tall way. Now, I found this idea online from Liz at the Paper Project, and I've amended some of her measurements because you can change the measurements up a little bit depending on how big you want your envelope to be. So first of all, thanks to Liz for her inspiration, and also just the idea that you can change some of those measurements like I did. So here's a standard gift card size. It's my library card. And this will fit inside here perfectly, just like so. If you wanted to make something that was a little bit larger or a little bit smaller, you can do the exact same fold. Just start with a smaller or larger piece of cardstock. Now, the first thing I always do when I'm doing something that is folded or fiddly or different than what I normally do is make a dummy sample. So that's my purple piece here that I've just made with some scrap cardstock. But I wanted you to be able to see what this shape will look like before it's all folded and glued together. So this is where you can see that 5.5 by 4 inch piece that has been trimmed down. Now, going back to our 8x8 pattern papers, of course, half of 8 is going to be 4, which means that you can get 2 of these little gift card holders from one piece of 8x8 paper. Just a little reminder for you. So what I'm going to do once I've got my piece cut is measure and score. And I'm going to do the measuring and scoring 1/2 inch across the bottom and then 1/2 inch on either side. It doesn't matter which side, right or left, but definitely want to orient your pattern paper, especially if you have text on here, that you want it reading the right way. So here's the bottom of my piece. So I'm going to go ahead and score 1/2 inch on that. So I'm going to bring back in my trusty paper trimmer and take out the paper blade. And I'm going to put in the scoring blade. And then I need to go up here to 1/2 inch and score that. So this is scored and ready to fold. And then I'll do 1/2 inch on the other side. So both of these will then get folded in. So again, starting with my piece, I've got a 1/2 inch scored and folded on the bottom and 1/2 inch here on the side. So then the next step is I'm going to flip this over and I'll fold in my short side. And then I'm going to take this other short side and fold it in to meet the edge. And then score this down. I'm going to grab my bone folder or my craft stick craft stick or popsicle stick and score that really nicely. So you can start to see where this is kind of coming together here. From here, what I need to do is grab my scissors, and I'm going to cut just at an angle, a diagonal across here. Snip that across so that this will fold in a little bit easier. And then I'm also going to cut along this score line and do this at an angle as well. So I'm just following that line here, going with my scissors. And this at an angle. So you can see how this is coming together. So all I need to do from here is fold this up. So I'm going to fold in the side and fold up the bottom. And then this will fold across like so. Now, to secure this up together, I really recommend you use an extra sticky tape or double-sided tape, something besides a glue stick, because you do want to make sure that this stays in securely. So I'm going to use my extra sticky tape for this. Here's my little paper piercer, label remover. Take that off. And then I'll cut a piece to go across the bottom. And pop that down. And then fold this up like so. So now I've got my little pocket. So bringing back in my original here, you'll notice I've got a half circle cut out. And so remember these. If you're an old-time crafter like I am, you probably have a lot of paper punches in your stash. So this is a 7/8 of an inch circle. Any size of circle will probably do the trick. So you're just going to flip this over, position it halfway in here, let that go. And now I've got my half circle in here as well. So this is going to fit perfectly with my gift card size card, or just point out, little chocolates can also fit inside here too, perfectly. And what else did I have? Oh, I wanted to share with you too. If you are somebody who loves to drink tea, give specialty tea bags as little treats, these can also just barely fit. But this is the thing about the envelopes. You can adjust those sizes. So if you have something a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller that you want to tuck in, you can make those arrangements as well. So what do we have from here? Beautiful papers, beautiful designs. You can leave it as is, or come back in with some additional embellishments. I've got some baker's twine. Let's see. I'll use my foam tape for this. Pop this down and then wrap this around a couple of times. And let's see, secure it with another little piece of tape. Snip that off. And then from here, maybe I want to grab another one of our beautiful ephemera pieces and put some more foam tape on here. You can imagine that I do go through a lot of foam tape. I should be buying it in bulk or something, but I just really like how it adds some dimension. I'm going to pop this down here like so, and then I guess I could even add a little bow, or again, some of those enamel dots, or even I could have added some rub-ons down at the bottom. And pop this up like so, and then I've got another quick and easy little project ready to go. So again, a lot that you can do with this template of sorts and those measurements as much or as little as you want to change them. I think it's just a really useful project to have on hand. So for this one, of course, I'm using that green pattern paper that we saw in the 12 by 12 pack, another one of those ephemera pieces. And then I've just tied this around with some jute twine. This is the one we just did. This one here has some of those rub-ons and then more of those beautiful ephemera pieces. I've also added here up at the top of the ornaments some of the enamel dots from the collection. So those can be added in there. And then I've got a little sticker that I had in my stash. And then, of course, the Joy to the World. This one is using some sheer ribbon wrapped around here. So pull out your ribbons and your other embellishments and mix them in with what we are working with today. Just everything comes together so easily, which I really love about this set. So again, this is all using the 12 by 12 vintage Christmas collection. But as we talked about earlier, those 8 by 8 papers would also do the trick here too. So those in combination with the ephemera, it just makes everything easy and fun, especially with so many festive designs that we can make together. So I hope that you have enjoyed today's live. It's been wonderful to be here with everybody. Thank you so much for popping in your comments. Hi again to Susan and Michaela. And it has just been a pleasure to be with you. So I'm going to pop up the camera again here, just quickly get it off of my messy work surface. I just wanted to also let you guys know that I will be back here on December 5th, and we're going to be doing some more Christmas projects with more of Arden's beautiful papers and embellishments. And Fiona and I have been talking about some ideas. So there's a lot of really fun project ideas going through my head, and we will have some more to share with you then. If you are catching up with us on the replay, then we're so glad to have you here, and we look forward to also seeing you, hopefully again, in 2 weeks' time. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much to Fiona and to the wonderful Arden team for creating this space for us to all come together. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. I hope you have some time to get in some creative inspiration and maybe some creative projects of your own. If you do, please share them with us. We'd love to see what you're coming up with as well. So thank you guys so much again. Do take care, and I will see you in 2 weeks. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.